This is breaking news from Egypt. And indirect Gaza talks have begun between Hamas and Israel in Egypt. Negotiators from Israel and Hamas have begun indirect discussions in Egypt's Sharm el-Sheikh for a hostage prisoner exchange and Gaza ceasefire. Reports say the delegations are discussing preparing ground conditions for the release of detainees and prisoners in line with a proposal from US President Donald Trump to end the war in Gaza. According to reports, Egyptian and Qatari mediators are working with both sides to establish a mechanism for the exchange. On the eve of the second anniversary of Hamas's October 7th attack and the subsequent military operation by Israel, delegations from Israel, Hamas and mediating nations are in Sharm el-Sheikh. The talks center on a 20-point peace plan advanced by President Trump aimed at halting the war and charting a political path forward. The Hamas delegation is led by senior official Khalil al-Hayya, who recently survived an Israeli strike in Doha, while Israel has sent Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer to take part in the talks. According to reports, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, and Qatari Foreign Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani will also be present at the negotiations. The first phase of discussions is expected to focus on releasing the 48 remaining hostages, about 20 of whom are believed to be alive, in exchange for Palestinian prisoners currently in Israeli custody. Earlier, in a post on social media, President Trump said that talks had been very successful and that the first phase should be completed this week. Foreign ministers from several countries, including Egypt, said the talks at the Egyptian resort town were a real opportunity to achieve a sustainable ceasefire. The Hostages Families Forum headquarters, a coalition representing relatives of those held in Gaza, has appealed to the Norwegian Nobel Committee to consider awarding Trump the Nobel Peace Prize, citing what it called his unprecedented contributions to global peace. Dr. Charles Kupchan is a senior fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations. He is now joining us live from Washington, D.C. Dr. Kupchan, it's good to see you. So many people are betting on these talks happening in Egypt. Are you?
I think there's a pretty good chance that the plan that Trump has laid out is going to stick, at least for now. I mean, the fact that these conversations are taking place in Egypt with Israelis, with Hamas, with mediators, including the United States, is a good sign. And as you just reported, they're focusing on tangible, concrete steps that would begin the disengagement. That is to say, letting out the hostages, both dead and alive, in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. I do think that there are some very tough issues that are yet to be resolved, and they include the disarmament of Hamas and whether or not this group is really ready to lay down its arms, and also the nature and timing and location of an Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. So we are not at the end of the road here, but I do think there is clear light at the end of the tunnel.
Dr. Kupchan, I want your reactions to two things. There is a families forum in Israel which has appealed to the Norwegian committee to consider awarding Trump the Nobel Peace Prize, and the other issue is the European Union says that it has a role to play in rebuilding Gaza. What is your reaction to both these statements?
Well, you know, I think Trump would love a Nobel Peace Prize, but it's probably premature. The two big conflicts that he promised to end, the war in Ukraine, the war in Gaza, are still burning. Let's hope for the best. Let's hope that Trump succeeds in ending the violence in Gaza. And this is a war, we need to mention, that has engulfed not just Gaza, but Lebanon and Syria and Iran and Qatar and Yemen. This is a region-wide war, and it needs to come to an end. And the fact that you have this families forum that has stepped forward does indicate, it reveals the degree to which Netanyahu faces pressure at home. He faces pressure because his own military doesn't support the continued operation in Gaza. He faces isolation internationally. A lot of countries are now recognizing Palestinian statehood. And he faces a huge amount of pushback at home, not just from families of the hostages, but from many Israelis who want to see this war end. So I think that Netanyahu has a clear political incentive to get this deal through. The key question, I think, is Hamas ultimately going to agree with the terms that are on the table, even if they're reworked and amended on some level?
All right. I was waiting for the reaction about Europe, but it's okay. We'll just have to leave it there. Dr. Kupchan, it's good to see you. We are out of time. Thank you for talking to us today.
Good to see you. Bye-bye.